Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a replay broadcast here on Base Trade TV. This is Rifkin, and I am joined by the lovely amateur caster, Wolf. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, hello, I'm Wolf, and I'm a Platinum player at the moment. Basically, I'm adminning for SCV Rush. Check out our website if you want to know what tournaments we're doing and stuff. I'm from Germany, and yeah, if you want to find me on Twitter, just search for Sc2Wolf.
And for the
And that's
record, guys, this is a lovely young lady and not a 12-year-old boy, so get those thoughts out of your head right now. But okay, so one of the goals of this cast, this is not going to be a professional cast by any means. This isn't going to be something you guys are used to. What I'm going to be doing is periodically pausing the game at certain very distinctive points and asking Wolf her perspective on what she thinks is going to happen. And this has two benefits. One, it kind of lets the amateur caster or amateur player even get some insight on the difference between what is happening and what a lot of people think might happen, but it also makes the game a little more fun. I mean, when somebody's wrong, it's always funny. Trust me,
just for the person who's wrong. All right.
I've been wrong plenty of times. There's this saying here at Base Trade TV, you don't know about this, but like, okay, so let's say this guy's building a barracks right now. I'll be like, oh, he's obviously gonna go bio, and then he'll go mech. That's called being Rifkind, because it means you get it wrong a lot. So have no fears, I've also been on that end of the stick. Now, a quick shout out to our players to give them some proper introductions. In the lower right corner of the map, we have our yellow Terran player playing from Croatia. It is Frozz. And would you like to introduce the other?
In the top left corner, we have the orange Protoss Kiljardi.
Yeah, I'm not too sure who this particular player is either. Again, this is a replay, by the way, for those who don't know, from the WCS EU qualifiers. So some of these players are going to be well known, some of them will be completely random. I mean, a lot, like, I don't know if you've been keeping up with this, Wolf, but like, quite a few of the people who have made it through the qualifiers are people pros have never heard of.
I heard that, but no, I haven't watched any of the games, to be honest. I'm at uni at the moment, so I'm sitting in Berlin and not where I normally live.
Well, I can't blame you either. I mean, it's like 8 hours of just non-stop StarCraft from like 13 different streams. Who can keep up with all that, right?
A friend of mine played. He tried to get like qualified.
Oh, who's your friend?
Um, he played. That's how I got to know you. Actually, it's Sport Billy.
Oh, Sport Billy. Yes, Mr. Cannon guy. I do remember him.
Yeah.
Alright, well, we're going to pause the game here for the first little call here.
Game paused.
So we see here on the field, just analyzing what's currently available, our Terran player has gone for a Reaper. This is nothing too out of the ordinary. A lot of Terran players open with Reapers to go for scouting. I mean, they're fast, they're nimble, and they don't die very easily. We have the reactor, though, coming down on the barracks. So do you think this will be continued infantry production, or do you feel this will go towards a factory? Trust me, a lot of these questions are going to be like coin flip, just take a guess. It doesn't matter if you're wrong or right.
Yeah, to be honest, what I'm seeing right now doesn't really tell me anything. If I would see like not a reactor, I could say, what's the other thing called again? It's
Tech Lab?
Where the Marauders come from.
Yeah, well the thing is, here I'll resume and explain this in a moment. So, the thing to point out here is Frozz has gone for a command center. Not very early, but he's taken it after his barracks. And by taking this reactor, it either means he's going to go for one of two things. He wants a lot of production up early. Typically, you'll see players try and pump out a lot of units to deal with Protoss aggression, or he'll throw it for a reactor at the add-on. But seeing the second barracks placed right now instead of a factory indicates that it will in fact continue with infantry production.
Yeah, it would make sense, because if he disexpands so early, he has probably some difficulties if the Protoss is going for early aggression.
Well, the other thing
because
I like
he spent on his minerals on something else, so he's going for a reactor to make it possible to build more Marines.
And if you go for reactor Hellions, they're very expensive compared to Marines. But the other thing I was going to point out here is this is something Frozz does that not a lot of players typically do. You saw, I don't know if you noticed, he pulled a lot of workers off of gas just so he could get the extra minerals to get this infantry force up.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we've given Frozz a lot of love. Let's switch gears here and go to the Protoss base. So our Protoss player also playing pretty typically. He's got the Mothership Core out. This will be great for defense. This Reaper going to try and come in and do a bit of harass. But of course, the Mothership Core will be able to shut this down. Now, what I do like here, unfortunately, for Frozz, is that we had the Stalker come out very early as well. A unit that's great at dealing with Reapers. I don't know if you're familiar with it. Have you ever seen a player called Fuser play?
No.
Fuser is a Terran player who You can pretty much count on him to make about 9 or 10 Reapers every game.
Oh.
Not a lot of Terran players do that, and the thing that's kind of funny about it is Reapers, with their combat drug mechanic, they trade cost effectively versus everything because of the way they heal. It's pretty ridiculous.
I don't know, I always, like when I'm playing PvT, I'm always going with my first Zealot and with my first Stalker. Just going to his base and checking if there's a bunker at his natural, and I leave my mothership core at home, so in case some Reapers arrive, I can just kill them off.
Well, if you were Kiljardi right now, and with this one poor Stalker you saw this many Marines and Marauders, how would you feel at the moment?
Well, I would just run away again.
Exactly, that's exactly what he's doing too. Because
Well,
I mean,
I'm always doing that. Some people are just not, I mean, they make small mistakes in the beginning so that you can just kill them off with constantly bringing new units. Then as soon as you're in with the Zealot and the Stalker already.
well, this is looking a little bit precarious for a Protoss player. He has Photon Overcharge the Nexus that will help deter this push, but actually there's a small gap between the Force Field and where the Overcharge is. Unfortunately though, Frozz is losing quite a few units to this.
But I think he's defending quite well.
Yes, Kiljardi doing a great job of holding this aggression off. I mean, the Photon Overcharge, it doesn't even do that much damage comparatively, but it's got such range to it. I mean, look at that. It covers the ramp, for goodness sake.
Yeah, it's really good. This is, I don't know, I love the Mothership core for it. I hated HOTS in the beginning, I really hated it.
I think a
Because
lot
of
of
other-
people had trouble adjusting to some of the new
Yeah.
stuff. But I mean,
I was so used to not losing every game, and then I started playing, and I started completely like new. I think.
I'm gonna pause here, not for anything relevant, but just to say scumbag Protoss.
Why?
I'm not used to losing every game.
Well, I wasn't used to.
Game resumed.
And then in HOTS, when I started new, well, I was losing, but then I got promoted and stuff, so it worked out quite well in the end.
The one thing I'd like to point out here is Frozz has quite a lot of units on the field, and while the Immortal is really good at dealing with these Marauders, the Marines are going to tear it to bits. This is
Yeah,
looking
the-
pretty bad for a Protoss player.
We probably could have done a bit more if the third force field would have been a bit closer to the other ones, so it would have cut off the way.
Yeah, and it's a shame. The Mothership Core are very close to having enough energy to overcharge once more, but not just yet. I think it will be able to for this next engagement, though. I like the choice of Colossus as well. This is really good out of our Protoss players. It's going to allow for, well, quite frankly, dealing with all of the Marines. Because what is on the field right now can't really contend with this force. I like this. Frozz as well, dodging. I'm going to pause real quick.
Game paused.
Because something amazing is going to happen. That I
I
don't...
hope force fields.
Yes.
I hope for force fields.
This is a precarious situation that whether you're a Masters player like Frozz or a Bronze Leaguer who's just starting the game, when you see two sentries near a ramp, typically you don't want to go up that ramp. As you've mentioned,
Yeah.
force fields are going to be quite deadly here. Now, if you could describe in your own words before I hit play again, what do you think exactly is going to happen?
I'm just thinking about it. Well, if he stops all the units from running up the ramp, I don't know. Can he win with his two sentries, his two zealots, and the stock and the immortal against this little army from the
Well,
Terran?
You have to keep in mind the Nexus, as we see here in the pause, is actually in the middle of
Yeah.
shooting one of its beams, so it is overcharged. So it's not only...
Oh,
It's
He
got the...
could. I just have an awesome idea. So he could put a force field like to stop them from running up the ramp, and then put force fields behind so that they can't run out of the range of the cannon from the Nexus.
Well, you know what? You have no idea how incredibly correct you are in that statement. Let's take a look. Oh, poor Frozz.
Beautiful.
If that doesn't hurt, I don't know what does. Because look, we got the Mothership Core, the Immortal, and the Nexus just shredding this army to bits.
The most lovely thing I ever seen.
Yeah, well, from a Terran perspective, that breaks my heart a little bit, but I do have to give some respect to Kiljardi because that was an excellent position to take. Now he's got a Colossus on the field, he's got an Immortal. I mean, these are two units that are just going to slice and dice the infantry of our Terran player.
I just once I saw somebody with storms, and
Oh,
he had so many sentries that he just made force fields all around the army of the enemy,
And
and he
stormed
just
them in.
stormed inside, and it
Well, the
Somehow
thing,
it hurt so bad, but it was so beautiful to see all these units that were melting.
it was like
Oh.
art, if you will. Yeah, it's the thing about storms too is whether you're trapped in a bunch of force fields or whether you're just out in the open, storms really hurt. Because I mean, you're going to be stimming underneath them, so that's 10 health. You're going to be eating the storm damage, and when Marines only have like 55 health to begin with, it's not a good time.
I hope he does see the drop though. Otherwise, the cannon is just in time.
Well, the cannon's being built in time, but will it finish in time is the big question.
Stop.
Because Frozz
But he
is
was good, probably. Oh, I totally forgot the speed.
the
thing
speed boost
from
on the medivacs.
Yeah.
So now we're in a
Why did-
situation where you've got two drops going on in opposite sides of your base. You've got a Colossus, sure, but you can't be in two places at once. So hitting pause here real quick.
Game paused.
Forget what Kiljardi's about to actually do. In this situation, what is more important to you? Your tech with the double forges upgrading? Look at them, they're both nearly complete. If they lose both of these upgrades, that could be devastating. But alternatively, your mineral line is under a lot of siege. I mean, currently the dropship is picked up, but he could drop again and you're going to lose all your probes. In your eyes, from your perspective, which of these two objectives is more important to save?
Okay, so since his army, the Protoss army, is already reaching the forges, I think he won't kill a forge that fast. So I would pull away the probes, I guess, and just attack with my army, like where he drops at the pylon near the forges, and hope it kills it off. So that it's just paused, so I can build a new pylon, and the upgrades will go on.
Alright, well,
And-
I gotta tell you, your heart's gonna break when you see what's about to happen, but I do want to compliment Jardy here
Uh-huh.
before you hit play. You'll notice he left a good portion of his army at the natural base location. This is because he senses that the Terran player might push up a ramp with another small force, which
Oh,
looks
I-
to be the case. So it's
Yeah,
a
I
really
totally
smart
forgot
position.
about that. Oh. I don't like.
This is a
Oh,
precarious
please
position.
Stop it.
Okay, let's hit play. What we're gonna do is as we hit play, I mean, okay, the forges we'll take a look at them in a second, but keep an eye on this drop near the mineral line, all right?
Okay.
Game resumed.
So Frozz has found himself the perfect position between the Twilight Council and the robotics bit, because you'll notice here with the mineral lines as well, he's actually completely walled in, and there's no way for these zealots to connect.
Oh, this is so horrible.
And
And he's. Oh, the Colossus.
the Colossus is there, but look how many workers, 19 have been picked off at this point. Absolutely gutted. Meanwhile, the main base under attack as well. We see, or sorry, the natural, the Immortal goes down, the Colossus already has fallen, and again, behind the mineral lines, we find our Terran player dropping. But, because we can't keep up with all this fast-paced action as is, while this is
No.
happening at the natural, look back at the main. That force that was attacking the forges, once
Yeah.
again, on top of the mineral line. And
Mhm.
Frozz is just, this is 3 different attacks all at the same time. How do you respond to something like this? It's not fun.
To be honest, 2 drops are too much for me to deal with already. Like, I'm so. It feels so horrible.
Well, we
And
do
I have
have-
no idea what you can do. I don't even know how the Terran manages to do all of this at once.
Well, we do have the Nexus already overcharged and this Colossus here in the main, so I think the main base should be safe for now. We're going to keep our focus here on the natural.
Okay.
So there is a single lone cannon that is actually picking off Marines, but Frozz, despite he could macro this or micro this out of the cannon, but he is so busy again in 3 different locations at once. Who can blame him? That drop in the main, getting picked up and saved, going for those forges once more. However, the upgrades did complete, so losing the forges at this point is not that big of a deal.
But tell me, why does he not pull away the probes, or at least attack with some of them and like go back to the minerals and then attack again as long as the cannon's still there? Since if he would attack with the probes and the cannon would be still shooting,
The problem with this... Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to
Game
resume.
paused.
If you press I real quick and look at the income of our Protoss player compared to the Terran player, 1700 to 900. If he pulls those probes, these are his only mining probes. He's got nothing at the main. He's got nothing at the third.
but if
If
they
you-
all get killed off, he has nothing. Well, he can't even get more minerals again. So better, I don't know, better pull them off for
If-
quite some time before everyone gets killed.
If he had no sentries, he had no zealots, and no defense, that might be a good idea. But right now, he needs the mineral income. Because look, he doesn't even have a bank to warp units in with. If he pulls these probes and loses half of them defending, he's still going to have no income afterwards. So it's best to just keep mining in this situation, get some army units out, and cross your fingers that you can hold this aggression off.
I
Yep.
don't know. He's so far behind in my eyes.
Oh, absolutely. Frozz has, despite that horrible sandwich at the ramp, brought himself
Yeah.
back into this game magnificently. I'm gonna play again.
Game resumed.
So yeah, Colossus is picked off at the main. One here camp in the forges. The Nexus is still overcharged. So no more drops will be coming north just yet, but everything inside this medevac is really low health. Like if he unloads any of these at the natural, he's dead. So what his focus should be is just getting his economy back up, which is why we see him pumping a ton of probes. Templar coming out as well, a really nice choice because, well, whether you've got storms or not, feedbacks, Archons, great alternate solutions for this sort of desperate scenario.
Yeah.
And some great micro by Frozz, picking up as soon as the Colossus shoots. But this big push at the the natural entrance, it might just be a little too much for a Protoss player. Force Field's Guardian Shield do go down, but the Colossus just doesn't have enough on its own. GG from Kiljardi.
Wow.
Game paused.
I know this is a bit like too much to expect. I'm just seeing it because I'm watching and I don't have to deal with all the stuff, but I would like to, as soon as this mothership core gets killed, like trying to get a new one so to get more energy on there as fast as possible. Because I just thought if he would have one again, it could have helped probably.
No, see, now
But-
here's what's really good about this. What you just said, that statement coming from a Platinum player, is the same mentality that Masters players try to adapt to. But because there's so much going on, it's really easy
Yeah.
to forget the simple but very important moments like rebuilding your mothership core. Because whether it's a time warp, whether it's the actual photon overcharge, or whether it's just like the lame DPS the mothership core itself has, it's a very important unit to have on the field. But I think at this point in particular, at least at the very end of the game here, it might have just not made a difference because of how much Frozz had on the field. But you're absolutely right, because there's things too, like for example, yesterday in the WCS we saw some very professional Zerg players not even injecting their hatcheries with their queens, just because so much is going on. It's easy to forget the simple but very important mechanics of the game.
That's incredible. This Terran player, I don't know. so much multitasking.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you very much
Thank
for joining me for this cast, Wolf. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it too.
All right, thanks for watching, guys. Take care.